Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mommy and Me experience. Welcome back, Gems. I'm super excited. I'm extremely excited for this interview because, man, don't y'all know who I got on this interview today? The boss, the queen, very, very successful college graduate. I'm going to share a little bit more about that. But listen, if you are just now tuning in, I need you to hit that like button. I need you to make sure that you subscribe and leave us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from because I love to respond back to you. This platform is a platform that I help moms build a better relationship with their daughters through a community that provides tips, strategies, and guess what? Hands-on building. So if you're not in that community yet, make sure you go to the link in the descriptions and get in that community because we are a community of women helping each other to be holistic, healthy, and healed from here on out. So I'm super excited to do this amazing interview with the one and only Miss Diva. Listen, Gems, okay? She is amazing. She is very successful. When I say very successful, she's successful, y'all, okay? She has a college degree. She has her bachelor's, okay? I'm going to let her share all of her story, but I'm going to give y'all a little bit of nuggets on who she really is, okay? And actually, she was able to retire 10 years earlier than what society had placed on her life to do. How about that for a amen, okay? So, Miss Amazing Diva, welcome to the Mommy and Me experience. How are you?
I'm amazing. I am amazing. And thank you. Can you hear me clearly and see me
I
clearly?
can. You are.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. And I think this is amazing. And anything that I can share, to bring the community together, parents and children, I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Well, you're looking beautiful, you're glowing, and I'm so grateful and thankful that you are here on this amazing platform. So let's get right into it, Miss Diva.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Is Miss Diva? Who is she?
Oh, I like that question. I'm glad you asked. Miss Diva, she is a woman of confidence. Woman of confidence that had to be built through the struggle, through the ups and downs, the obstacles that life bring you. I patch myself back up, and that's who became Miss Diva. Okay. I grew up in Harlem, New York, went to school in Harlem, did the regular go to school, get a good job, get good grades. And I did all of that, but I was still different, I would say, the way I dressed, the way I thought. And that's where Miss Diva started coming from. I love fashion and I thought about it. My mom loved fashion. I watched how she dressed and I started embracing it. I was always, voluptuous, and a lot of people of that size didn't have a fashion sense to me. And that was something that became important to me to show up and not try to dim my light because society would try to dim your light when you are of a certain size or a certain age. And I became defiant in that matter. Grew up with, ridicule when you were a big girl. I was like one of the tallest in the back of the class, and I stood out. And as I got older, I started embracing those curves. I started embracing what people would call was extra. I said, you know what? I'm not extra. I'm creative. I was in tune with my creative side. So that's what Miss Diva stands for. I've done plus size modeling. Because of the pandemic, I slowed up. But I make sure to represent for women and women of a certain size. And I celebrate myself and I celebrate others. So that's a lot of where Miss Diva came from, and that's who she is.
I love that. Miss Diva. I'm going to take a drink on that one.
I love it.
Voluptuous. Yes, I love that. I love it. So just what you said, okay, you said you modeled after your mom. You looked at what she did. She was into fashion, you know, she dressed up. So just based off of that information right there, how was you and your mother's relationship whenever you were growing up?
It's funny that you asked that, Viola. She was loving in her own way. We were close. We were close. And she didn't realize that she had done a lot of damage to me mentally. Like I said, always been a big girl and struggled with weight. You know, I would lose it, I would gain it. When I hung with my friends, a lot of times I was the biggest girl. I was still cute. Like I was giving them a run for their money though. Hello. Yeah. And that's probably why I'm still the way I am today, because I had to show up. I felt I had to show up and represent for the voluptuous women. And our relationship, she made sure that I had. We lived in, like I said, Harlem, but I never suffered. My mom, she worked and then she stopped. She was on public assistance. But we didn't skip a beat. She sold Tupperware, Coppercraft, you name it, legally. You know, she made sure I had the best. I was a little girl and I had little fur coats, little rabbit coats, leather suede coats. So we never was considered poor. You know, we weren't rich, but we wasn't poor. And our relationship in terms of love, Viola, that was a big missing piece with our relationship. And she didn't know. So you know what I did when I had my child? I was pregnant.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Slow down.
Okay.
Let's rewind that back because you just unloaded something for somebody. So we need to kind of keen in on that. She didn't notice that she wasn't giving out the love that you needed. Why do you think that?
She didn't know. She didn't know. So I would say, and I'll get to it, I would say things. She would actually say things to me. Oh, look at those thighs. Ooh, I messed you up. Oh, you got a bump on your face. That's AIDS on your face. Don't kiss me. But she's not doing it mean. She's like, don't, oh no. Like some people have that kind of sarcastic kind of way. And I would say, oh, Ma, you know, and I would still hug her and grab her. I didn't know she was damaging my self-esteem. Because then I started looking at my legs and they are big and they were big and other parts, you know, and I didn't love it. I didn't love those parts. And I didn't connect the dots then, but connecting them going back, I see where those words affected my self-esteem. And so when I got pregnant, I asked her, I don't really remember how pregnant I was, maybe 5-6 months. But something prompted me to ask her, not knowing that she would die. So I was glad that I got that answer. And I was like, Ma, you know, you never said that you love me, you know? And she said, you know what? She said, I was taught to love my man, take care of my children. That gave me closure.
Wow.
Woo.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, that is so, oh my God, that is so deep. And let me tell you why, because so many women were brought up to when you are in a relationship with somebody, even if you're not married to them, that is who you are supposed to serve. Even when you have children, you're not married. That is the person that you're supposed to serve, and your children are on the back burner. And that's not how God wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get in a relationship to somebody, if he's not your husband, it's totally different. It's a different ball game because God blessed you with that child to raise the child, take care of the child. So how could you not show your child love? You know, and show this person who didn't even choose to marry you, but you're showing them all of the love that you should be showing your child. How how damaging could that be to somebody? And just based off of that, share a little bit about your mental process growing up from just that. How old were you? Let me ask you this. Whenever you got a chance to kind of share those things with your mom, what was your age?
I was in college. Yeah, I was in college. So maybe 20.
Like in your 20s. Okay, right. So how did that affect you after she shared that with you in college in your 20s? You're, I think, pregnant at this time, right? And how did that affect you mentally with just who Miss Diva is, like your security or your insecurity, or how you perceived yourself? Did that kind of diminish, who you were? Did that kind of give you a stigma about yourself?
That in terms of my self-esteem, it affected it. So I believe, and this is my own diagnosis, just being transparent, that's where Diva really came from, because I became someone that no matter what you said or did to me, you was not going to move me. I was unshakably Miss Diva, baby. And that's what protected me, and gave me a sense of, being there and showing up and saying, I'm here and I'm not going nowhere. And yeah, I started building back up my self-esteem myself, yeah.
So kind of share some of the things that you did, because maybe there's a mom out here, or maybe there's a daughter out here who has experienced the exact same thing. And I know we're kind of already off a topic, so to speak, when it comes to the questions that I'll have for you. But this is really deep, because there are a lot of women who may had their mom in their life, but they didn't get the love that they so truly desire. Because let's think about it, when you're younger, right? And maybe your mama was younger when she had you, maybe she wasn't married to your father. There could be a lot of, pieces that were missing in that concept. But, did you guys go, did you guys believe? Are y'all believers? Did she keep you in church, or did she, did y'all study the word together? Because, God does tell us, give our hearts to him and give our love to other people. And so when we don't love ourselves, we cannot absolutely love somebody else. So do you really truly think that your mother loved herself?
I don't even think she knew what the difference was, because she showed her love other ways. Like, her way for me was to make sure I didn't go without, and she took care of other people's children. So when she passed away, she had a standing ovation. It was standing room only, and I never met anyone that hated my mom. She took care of everyone. She did the community room, giving out the free food, so she showed love in giving of herself. But to give hugs, to give kisses, to say, I love you, to say that you're beautiful, that you could be anything that you want to be, those are the words that she didn't know. So she did it through making sure that we didn't have to want for anything. That's the truth. And she was a beautiful person, but she didn't really know that part. And it affected me in the way that I chose my men. As soon as they were showing me what I, just giving me that attention and showing me what appeared to be love, I didn't even look at anything else that was shooting red flags all over the place. I was just skiing past those red flags like nobody's business, because I had a void that wasn't filled.
Yeah.
And in terms of church, it's funny because her father was a reverend, and he lived with us for some time. So we definitely come from the church. We were in the church a lot. But in terms of near the end, when she started getting sick, she didn't go to church anymore. I continued to, because it was instilled in me. And I started rebuilding myself. And you asked me, how, can other women learn from that and take notes and take heed? One of the things I did was to make sure that I kept up my appearance, because, when you look good, you feel good. And it don't have to be expensive. I always call myself a diva on a budget.
Yes.
I mirrored other women that I listened to, like the Mary J. Blige's. That's my era. So
Right.
she spoke a lot of hurt and pain, and she still showed up through her drug abuse, whatever. She still showed up. So I would suggest just taking off your head and putting on someone else's head, and get your belief from them until you can build up enough that you don't need them as much. And that's exactly what I do until this day. You know, I do listen to a lot of audibles. Like I said, I watch a lot of shows not shows, but on Instagram and TikTok, those that are into fashion, your house, and learn from it and feed from it. And it helps to build your self-esteem. And you got to be mindful what you say. I speak to other adults also. And I'm very mindful of what I say. I didn't know that it was so powerful. So I always, I watch myself talk, because I know you can speak death into, life. So those are some things that it seems simple because I didn't know this growing up, Viola. But I know it now, that I will not take, if someone says something negative to me, like, oh, you're big or you're fat or anything that can be painful. I've learned to, I'm strong enough to say, no, I okay, that's your opinion, but I look good though. I look good. And I stand strong 10 feet deep in it, because it only affects you when you allow it to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't allow it, no matter what, I don't care what you look like. It's what
Exactly.
you believe, So
That's good. That's good. I mean, you are what you answer to. So if you answer to all of those things, then yes, that would definitely damage you and probably set you back from your growth. So kudos to you for really walking in that, because it's challenging when you're especially a woman and you have been through those challenges. And then on top of that, you didn't really have a mom that showed her affectionate love, but she showed her love in other different areas. And that can be very, touchy for a woman, because most women, we are very nurturing, but when you don't have that nurturing growing up, going right into, the next question that I would like to ask you, how did that affect your relationship with your son? Because I know that you have a son, and how did that affect your relationship when it comes to the nurturing part?
Yeah, that's a good question, Viola. I actually reversed it. And when I had the conversation with my mom, she started showing the love to my son. And then she did an overkill. Now, she didn't say I love you a lot, but she's hugging him. And she kept, that's my son. I believe she really believed that was her son, and she just loved, she just took ownership in a way of him. He stayed at her house a lot. She just catered to him. So one of the things I want to definitely say is to have that conversation with your parent, respectfully, not aggressively and disrespectfully, but point it out, because they just may not know, because my mother didn't. Now with my son and I, we actually have a good relationship, because I made myself say I love you until this day. Every day that I speak to him, we ended with I love you. And what I did was I never, and I don't use never and always because those are general, I never say something that's going to affect his self-esteem. I remember when he was a heavy set boy. He's slim now, but he was a heavy set boy, and he would have bad acne. And he already had a full nose like me. Imagine having acne on your nose. And so you already know, and I would not say it. I was like, you was too cute. You're too handsome, and I would build his self-esteem because he was very humble and shy and passive. So that's some of the things that I did with him that I knew my mom didn't do with me, but I knew that she loved me. So I would tell him I love him every time we speak. We're in the call with I love you. I love you, right? Yeah. And he feels the support. He says it until this day. He's like, because he was going through some, clinical depression. And he said, what really helped me is, I said, wait, but I have a mom that loves me. He said this in his maybe late 20s. So it matters what you say and how you treat someone. They may not show it or say it, but their actions, behavior shows it.
Right. Wow. Wow. So kind of hit on that a little bit. I know that you don't have a daughter, you have a son, but what are maybe some of the reasons why he was going through some of his clinical depression?
I think I know his self-talk was not good. He would, if he didn't do something that was positive, he would beat himself up, and say, "Damn, I'm a loser," or "I can never get anything right," or things like that. And I would say, look, you got to be careful what you say. I said, even if you feel that way, don't speak it, don't put life into it. And he couldn't understand that. And we went through a lot of changes with that, a lot of changes. It put me through a lot. It's very hurtful. It's very painful to see your child going through some changes that you couldn't even help them. I can hug him, love him, support him, and I learned once he did share with me, he said, I thank you, for being there for me. But when he was going through it, he couldn't see it. And I just, it was just, I'm just grateful that he came through it. He was just over here for the weekend and we had better conversations and he thanked me. And I'm grateful. He's like, Mom, thank you for your support, and I love you. And I'm like,
that's beautiful. I love that, because maybe there's a mom out there who don't have a daughter, but maybe she has a son and she's a, single mom trying to figure out, how do I, raise this child,
without
maybe, right. Maybe there's some advice or something that you can give a single mom, or maybe even a mom who's married and they have a son, but maybe the father works a lot or something like that. Maybe he's not as involved. I know there's some crazy cases out there, but what if you do have that mom that has, a son and she may be going through some of the same things? What are some things that she can do to encourage him, to uplift him and to help him build up, his self-esteem?
This is the best time now. Like, suicide is so prevalent now. On Instagram alone, I tag him all the time with the different mental health, Black brothers, mental health, because once you join one group, the algorithms have you, maybe you like this group. And then I have conversations with him, afterwards, and say, have that space, that safe space for him to speak about what is really bothering him. And I reach out to other men that are productive. I don't care if it's an uncle, a big brother, a homeboy across the street. If I see that he's been successful, and I don't mean rich, but on the right track, I would also have him speak to my son. You know what I did a few days ago? There's a business partner of the video that I posted with Amani, and I did that interview. I connected him and my son the other day. I did a 3-way. I spoke to Imani and I spoke to my son. They had some similar background. They spoke for 45 minutes. They exchanged numbers. Imani shared his mentors. And my son now is following him. And Imani said, you could call me whenever you want. So I make it happen, and I don't give up on my son. As many times you can want to, because it's overwhelming.
Right.
But I never give up. So don't give up on yourself, because I'm going to tell you something, right? I didn't share it, but I worked in the jail. I worked with juveniles. And one of the things I would tell them, because they would come in, some of them tried to commit suicide while they were there. We would go in the room and they would have it, trying to do the hanging part of it. And I would say, when I had my rap sessions with them, I would say, who's to say where you want to go? You say you want to go when you talk about, I want to kill myself. Who says it's better over there than it is over here? And it would always work. So that's what I would say to the parents, especially the young parents. all the parents that's struggling or want to give up, or your child wants to give up, say that to them. Say it to them. What makes you think it's better? You don't even know what's going on over there, wherever there is, Yeah. And surround yourself with some type of support. A lot of times, Viola, the first thing you want to do is get by yourself. Yeah. And that's where the playing field is for the devil. Yes. Right? He likes that. But when you have a support system, it's a little harder for him to fight all of us, so yeah.
I love it. That is key right there, is support, mamas. Okay. Y'all heard that. Support and surround them. Okay. Or your child. If you're a single mom, put that child in a positive environment. Now, I know the audience doesn't know who Imani is, but kind of share just a tad bit of what his age is and who he is. Just fantastic.
Absolutely.
So they kind of get a little bit of understanding about that.
Absolutely, no problem. So one of my businesses deals with networking, getting with other people to place ourselves in better positions financially, mentally, spiritually. We have leaders, we have mentors, because to do it by yourself is just it's challenging. So we went to an event, maybe last month or two, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, maybe. And I saw this young guy. He looked like he was about 16. And I was like, how did he make it out here? We out here in Dubai. That's some people's bucket list, Viola. And we're out here at a boot camp training for trading. And that's an industry that a lot of minorities that I found are not familiar with. And he was there. And I said, I have to go speak to this young man. And I went and said, excuse me. He said, I'm just so impressed with you being all the way over here in another country. And we started speaking. He said he was 19. He said he owned his own business starting at 13. He said he would never work for someone else. We were speaking about having a job. It was like, he said, is just over broke. And I said, I need to interview you. I interviewed him and people reached out to me. He was very impressive. He's into motivational speaking, helping other people, young people. So if there's someone here that wants to know, I will definitely, Viola, give you the link. And he's definitely open to helping young people follow their dreams and really pursue it. So that's how we met.
Yes.
He's my business partner.
I love that, right? Because networking is key, right? Because your son is a little bit older than he is, correct?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter the age. It matters about the mindset and what type of environments you're putting your children is. That is key. Yeah.
Environment is, oh my God, I'm going to say about 80%, it will make or break you. If you're in an environment that's toxic and you're not productive, you will become your environment if you don't get out of that environment. And that's something that Warren Buffett said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, as we are winding down, I have a bonus question that I would like to ask you.
Oh, what you got?
This has been amazing so far. So make sure you guys put some questions in here. Miss Diva can come back and, look at your comments. That way she can get them answered for you. So leave us with some comments in the comments. Okay. So tell me, what is one thing that you would have done differently back then had you knew what you know now?
What I would have done differently back then if I knew what I knew now. Making decisions when it came to relationships with men. I would have had more boundaries because I got boundaries like nobody's business now, honey. Would have had more boundaries. I would have found a way to love myself more despite me not receiving the love. That's a little challenging when you're young, but I probably would have worked on it a little sooner, because if you don't love yourself, it will show in the way you treat yourself and what you accept from other men. That's something I would have done differently. And with my son, I would have really worked on being a lot more loving and understanding. Yeah, I had a job that I did a lot of overtime. I worked in the juvenile detention. So in that environment, I was a supervisor. So I sold my time for money, and it's a bad thing. It happens, because you want the money to live that lifestyle, but you pay for it because my son was affected by it. My husband was affected by it. And I wasn't able to spend that quality of time, Viola, with my son to really show him what true love looks like with a son and a mom. So if I had to do it again, I would not get into an environment where I sold my time for money. I would do something where I was in control of my value and my worth. And I told whoever the business was what I was worth, instead of me going and getting what they felt I was worth. And then I had to do 4 and 5 days, 16 hours, 17 hours. And that affected my relationship with my son because I was at work more than I was home with him. So if I had my choice to do something different, I would not do that. Period.
Yes, that part. Exactly. I love it. Well, is there anything else that you want to leave to the Mommy and Me community?
Yeah. Believe much faster. Don't think you have time because you don't. As we see the way people are dying, like the Twitch guy, he looks like he was so happy. He touched so many of us and we never met him. So you don't know what people are struggling with. I don't know what you're struggling with, but I want you to be mindful of what you say to yourself. And I want you to think about when someone treats you bad, I want you to say to yourself, would I treat myself the way someone else is treating me when it's bad?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good. That's good. Because like you said, you never know what somebody's going through. And don't take it as offense when somebody is maybe saying something that hurts your feelings, or maybe they're treating you a certain way. Just ask them a question. Are you okay today? Who hurt you? Or what are you experiencing? And I think now more than ever, especially women, we have this, I can't talk to you even though you're my mom because you won't understand. And it's like women, we have to drop those walls down because the enemy wants to muzzle your mouth. Because if the enemy can muzzle your mouth, then he can control your mindset, and your mindset controls everything else. So the enemy can tell you, your mama didn't care about what happened to you back then. She ain't gonna care now. That's what he does. He still kills and destroys. So us as women, we have to be able to open up our mouth and start having these big girl conversations with our moms, with our daughters, because if we don't, we're going to continue that cycle.
Absolutely.
The enemy is going to continue telling you lies about maybe something happened to you when you were a little girl and you haven't told your parents yet, or you haven't had that conversation with your mom yet because she may take it out on you. But that ain't nothing but the enemy telling you lies because he wants to muzzle your mouth. So we have to have these big girl conversations. And I'm super excited and grateful that you graced this community with your presence and sharing your story, because I know that this is always a tough conversation for women. And this is why, absolutely. This is why we're having these conversations, because we want it to come out. We want this conversation to happen because we need more women being whole, healed, and healthy in the future. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are amazing. Unmute yourself.
Yes. Thanks, Queen. Look,
we fix each other crowns over here, baby.
Look, I got little people in the house, and they come in here and they try to distract me, and I'm like, okay, listen, go away. I'm trying to do it.
Yes, and I want to commend you too. You are amazing. You have a few children, and it doesn't stop you from soaring. And you have such a full heart and a giving heart and a humble spirit. So I commend you, on this journey. Keep being amazing.
Thank you, Queen. So I had to bring him in here because he's just crying his eyes out, and I'm not trying to mute him out. So
that's right.
Welcome my little queen, okay, to the community. Say hi. Say hi, Bubba. Go say hi. He's not having it. So more conversations about your journey, Queen.
Ooh, to be continued.
To be continued. Yes. So if you guys want to join our community, there's going to be a link in the descriptions. Just click on that link. Make sure you answer those questions so you can be a part of our amazing Mommy and Me experience. And this is where you're going to have hands-on. You're going to be able to communicate. You're going to be able to share different things that you're experiencing and be around other like-minded women who have experienced the exact same thing as you. We all have different journeys. We all have different lives. We all have different stories, but we've all experienced something of the same one way or another. So thank you guys so much for tuning in on this amazing show. My name is Viola Hall. Looking forward to the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.